Good. WCW Monday Nitro number 197, June 28th, 1999. A limousine arrives next to the Michael Jordan statue in Chicago. Outstep Rick and David Flair along with Uncle Bruce, who is later explained as one of the owners of the Bulls and Blackhawks, the basketball and hockey teams in Chicago.
Bruce was awesome.
So Flair goes off about how Bruce built this building, the United Center in Chicago. He built it for David, so David would have a place to win the world championship. Uncle Bruce says, we're going to build an even bigger statue for David right next to this Jordan statue. Steven Regal and Fit Finlay versus Chris Benoit.
Vinny's very much downplaying this first segment.
Well, no one said anything, so I moved on.
Guy, Bruce. Well, I was trying to figure out what's going on right here, because all of these problems, everything's all messed up here.
I'm sorry.
And I'm fucking sweating. So first off, David's now got a bleached blonde hairdo.
Mm-hmm.
This has done him no favors.
Did you not have this before?
No, okay. This is new.
First time.
He's now got the bleached hairdo.
The Flair Platinum Blonde.
Yep. Yeah. This Bruce fella who owns United Center or whatever, he's fucking so great. He's just a guy, but man, Flair starts doing his crazy Flair promo, and Bruce is inspired. And boy, he just goes into full poor man's Ric Flair mode. Let me tell you something. We had Bruce, this random Bruce guy, we had Ric Flair, and we had David Flair. Okay? Bruce should be the world champion, not David. Okay? Bruce was a ball of lightning compared to young David Flair here. A 10 times better promo, 10 times more charisma. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know what's going on.
Rick actually started instead of "Be Like Mike" chant,
"Be Like Dave."
Be like Dave.
Yeah.
That never caught on.
No. I would say that in this segment, David Flair was fourth in the charisma scale behind his father, Uncle Bruce, and the Michael Jordan statue.
Well, right. Yeah, there's the statue too.
So the opening match here was Steven Regal, who is now back with his company after his real man's man stint in WWF. Steven Regal and Fit Finlay versus Chris Benoit and Perry Saturn.
What a great match.
They had a very good, basic formula tag match because the formula always works when you do it right.
With a winner.
There was a clean winner. William Regal's palm strikes to Perry Saturn's face in the corner. Jesus Christ. So Saturn suplexed him straight over onto his head. And they teased and teased and teased a tag to Benoit, and Benoit got the tag. And as we have mentioned, he was very good at his job. Made a great comeback. And then Saturn hit Regal with a DVD and pinned him. Thumbs up.
Yeah, Benoit and Finlay were awesome together. And then Regal got in, and he's kind of fat, but he's still kicked everybody's ass. Place goes crazy. DVD right on Regal's head. Mm-hmm. God, this match was great. Why can't Nitro be 3 hours of this?
Did you notice the flagpole breaking before it actually hit its opponent?
I did not catch that.
It's kind of cool.
It was cool?
You know.
No, I don't know.
It was neat, Brian.
Because he got the behind the scenes of a fake pole?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Why do I show up here every week?
I don't know.
Why? Your opinion is unquestionable.
I have a great job. I don't know why I'm here.
Anybody else? Vinny?
I'm just talking.
Okay, let's move on.
Flair and his crew are having a meeting when Van Hammer walks in.
Van Hammer's the best wrestler in the world.
Excuse me?
Don't question my opinion, Vinny. Why do I even show up here? Go on.
I've been asking myself that for years.
Damn it. So anyway.
I work with an 8-year-old.
I'm just making a point here. We're all allowed to have our own opinion. I didn't think a flagpole breaking early was cool. I was just asking Craig why he thought it was cool. That's all. We don't have to fight here.
No, we don't.
Where were we?
I can't imagine which one of us is being confrontational.
Well, it's not me.
Van Hammer.
I just asked a question.
Van Hammer walked in and asked for a title shot, and they said, sure. And they said, you get a match against Rick Steiner at Bash of the Beach. He said, thanks.
No, he said, I love it.
Sure.
That's very different.
Okay.
That's your opinion.
There's thanking them, and then there's he loves the idea that he will face Steiner at the pay-per-view. I believe a thank you. I don't believe I love it.
I see.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
I just love
sticking to it.
I've watched a lot of wrestling shows where a lot of wrestlers have asked for title matches, and usually the answer is you have to beat so-and-so, or absolutely not, you're not healthy, or this guy's not healthy. There's always a million excuses. I don't think I've ever seen one where a wrestler says, I want a title match, and they say, okay.
Well, Vinny, you got to look at what's going on.
Well, they think Rick Steiner's going to murder him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They were giggling about it, Flair and Piper.
This would be like if someone annoying on Raw came up and wanted to have a match with Brock Lesnar, and the heel GM is like, great,
Enzo, for example.
next week. Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect example.
So Mean Gene brings Team Flair out for a promo along with Uncle Bruce. So they all come out, and then Flair says, I'd like to bring out Roddy Piper. And Piper gets his own separate entrance. It's a 3-hour show. Got to kill some time. So Piper comes out and cuts a babyface promo sucking up to the Chicago sports fans. Then he starts ripping on Howard Stern for a while.
Yeah, he blames Howard Stern for all of the Y2K kids backstage who want a push to the top. It's Howard's fault.
I don't get it. I don't know what's happening.
And then he challenges him to a fight.
He did? He also... He insulted Howard with an insult Howard uses to insult himself.
Right.
This is not an effective way to pick a fight.
No.
He talked about the Y2K kids for a while and then referred to Flair as Rickus Flair.
Yeah, because he's like
A Roman emperor?
It's like a dinosaur.
Or a dinosaur, either way. So Flair hypes up Davis' title match and says, I want to apologize to Randy Savage. Please come out here, Macho Man.
Now, before we even went to Flair, Roddy Piper says, Kevin Nash tonight is going to face a young man. Did he really forget David's name? He could not, for the life of him, come up with David Flair's name. And finally he goes, I'm going to throw it to Ric Flair, who's going to tell you all about this youngster. And then Rick has to announce David versus Nash.
He may have said that. I didn't catch
Well,
that.
if anybody knows Flair, it'd be Flair.
You would hope.
My son, he calls him Big Bad Dave. By the way, if you were on the board, so
Nope.
was it Big Bad John? What was the guy's
Big Bad Steve.
Big Bad Steve? That's fucking Pindar.
Pindar without the mask.
Dude. He sure didn't Pindar my life on Thursday. It's just a fella this time. They need to put him back in that lizard costume.
Well,
When's Pindar coming to Defy? That's what I want to know.
I'll talk
Forget the Luchasaurus.
apparently, the last episode of season 3, Pindar's head was cut off
That's right. I'd forgotten about
by
that.
Daga with a sword. So Pindar will not be returning to Lucha Underground anytime soon.
Damn it.
Tragedy.
Now, if his tail, then like a gecko, he might just go back. But I don't think coming off the head
Sure.
works. You know?
Yeah.
So Flair calls out Savage. Savage comes out. He's got Sid. He's got Medusa. He's got the whole crew. This ring is very crowded at this point.
Yeah.
And the Flair says the one thing we all have in common, we all hate Kevin Nash. Since when does Ric Flair hate Kevin Nash?
Kevin Nash is a babyface champion. He's a heel.
The last time I remember Kevin Nash and Ric Flair doing anything together, Nash was in Flair's office and they left all buddy-buddy.
Didn't Nash beat Flair for the title?
Did he?
I think so.
That would do it.
Everything runs together. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It would be nice if they explained why Flair hates Nash.
Why? Every single week.
It would change?
Somebody changes. Somebody's something or other. It was actually worse on Raw. The big boss man
Oh,
You're not
geez.
wrong.
just shows up and says, I love you guys.
Everything was worse on Raw, as we shall get to. So Flair wants Savage and Sid to be lumberjacks in the title match later. He says, I will unban Randy Savage's big elbow.
Which, by the way, is never... I mean, he's used it every single time he's in the ring.
Yeah,
It's true.
Charles Robinson steps up and says, wait a minute, he nearly killed me. I was in the hospital with a tumor in my chest for weeks.
I got a scar right here.
Yeah, he's showing a scar to everyone and then all the women. Piper just pulls him aside to shut him up. Savage says, I do not care who is world champion as long as it is not Kevin Nash. He asks Sid his opinion. Sid says, let the madness run free.
So awesome. Sid's just standing there like a cheerleader. The biggest fucking ugliest cheerleader you've ever seen. Going, let the madness free! Over and over around the ring.
Everyone just ran their mouths for a while, and it finally ended. And the biggest deal is actually Arn Anderson was in the ring this entire segment,
Yep.
silently leaning in the corner.
Yep.
At the very end, everyone said their piece. The music's playing. They're about to wrap it up. And Sid just walks over to Arn, and they very briefly shake hands. This was the first time they were in a wrestling ring together on television since they stabbed each other with a pair of scissors in an English hotel room and tried to kill each other.
Yeah.
No squeegees were used either.
No. So,
Separate incident.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
The squeegee was that was Pillman.
That was
Oh, that's
Pillman.
right.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, this was, well, it's a long story. But yeah, they tried, they someone could have died easily. But they're fine now. Wrestling is weird.
Time heals all wounds,
Time and money.
including puncture wounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
And stitches.
Yeah. Lodi and Lenny were having a moment backstage.
Were they ever?
Lenny is worried WCW will find out about them. Lodi says they are not the only ones in the company. Lenny agreed. WCW, he says, is an open-minded place.
Oh, yeah?
You know?
They had Ziff. Get out of here.
Laney Lane was not a very good pro wrestler.
It's the worst promo.
He was much, 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 much worse as an actor.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Was it?
Yeah, it was, actually. I thought this was hilariously bad. But, like,
Yes.
this gimmick is so preposterous. You want great acting? It's even funnier with him sitting there going,
I would like
don't know. What-
some emotion.
there was emotion.
A shred. No, there wasn't.
That was fake, but it was ridiculous. Come on.
Lodi versus Eddie Guerrero.
What the hell do you want out of Lenny and Lodi?
I don't know. Not wrestling Eddie Guerrero. This match began. I actually said out loud, "Good luck, Eddie." A minute later, it was over, and he had no luck.
Immediate ref bump. I mean, like, the bell rang and the ref fell down.
And yet, this match went 1 minute, and yet watching Eddie in the corner trying to manhandle Lodi and the ref in a position for one ref bump, and it was the very first thing they did. My God. So the ref goes down. He gets squashed in the corner like an avalanche, and he's apparently on life support. He's down for 2 minutes.
In a 1 minute match? It's impressive.
Whatever. He was down with the whole time. Eddie beats up both dudes. He goes to the frog splash. Lenny tries to make the save by covering Lodi in a 69 position. So Eddie shrugs, hits a frog splash on both of them. The ref recovers. Eddie pins Lodi. This sucked.
You know, Eddie came back a couple of weeks ago. Total babyface. Then he has a match last week, and he's a total heel. Now he's out here with Lenny and Lodi, and it's 1 against 2. He beats both their asses
destroys them.
and wins. I mean, what's fucking going on here? He comes out looking all mean. He's got kind of heelish music. I'm pretty sure the guy's supposed to be a heel. But anyway, he was awesome. He did all he could with these two.
I suppose. It was a mighty handicap. I'll acknowledge that. Flair is going over all the plans for the title match with the crew. Piper determines the deck is not stacked heavily enough in their favor and says they should recruit the Jersey Triad.
He says, maybe Bam Bam, DDP, and that young guy, what's his name? And Flair says, Canyon. And Piper says, yeah, he's dumb enough.
He did say that.
And meanwhile, you've got Flair, and you've got Piper, and like everybody back there is totally fucking out of their minds. And there's David with his bleached hair, just sitting on the couch like a lump. Doesn't say a word. He's got no facial expression. No. He's like a wax dummy.
Are we sure he was awake?
Just sitting there.
Hack comes out for a promo. And I promise you he actually did this. He says, somebody back there doesn't like my matches. I'm calling out Ric Flair.
Okay, so the storyline is... Ric Flair's the president, and he has banned hardcore matches. So Hack is mad, and he wants to wrestle Ric Flair.
I see.
I was so...
Oh, don't even tell me. Begging.
I don't even know the words. I just cannot believe...
Salivating.
The concept of Ric Flair versus the Sandman.
You know they'd have a good match, though. That's what's crazy about it.
Somehow. Yes, I know it would be good, but I still can't picture it for a minute.
I can't either.
but
I know it would be good.
I don't know. So instead, Bam Bam Bigelow comes out, which is a good thing, because if Ric Flair had actually come out, my brain might have exploded. And so Sandman just removes his shirt.
And they have a wrestling match.
He was in the best shape of his career. And yes, Bam Bam Bigelow and Hack had a wrestling match.
It's horrifying.
I like when Sandman comes...
fucking terrible.
He comes off the ropes and he hits Bam Bam with his sternum.
Yeah.
He just runs forward, he throws his arms and shoulders and head back and just clobbers him, sternum first. So Canyon and Page show up. Hack fights them off with a stick for a bit. He hits the White Russian leg sweep, but then Page lays him out with a diamond cutter and Bam Bam gets the pin. And I wrote here, every bit as sloppy as you'd imagine, but in the end it worked.
My favorite thing that Sandman does, my favorite thing that Hack does is this swanton that he does. It's so out of control and flailing, and he never hits anybody with it, hardly ever.
That's like all of his offense.
It's
the senton is like his offense in aerial form.
okay.
Like when he hit him with his chest.
Yeah,
that was basically a senton. He was just on land. Know what I mean?
He doesn't hit it. Never mind.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Nash comes out for a promo.
Oh, God. What does Nash's fucking promo start with? Well, we got to randomly reference Scott Hall being at home. If you didn't read The Observer, can you imagine watching this goddamn show for 4 years and like every month someone's talking about where Scott Hall is? You never see the guy.
No.
You don't know where the fuck he's at.
The last time we saw him, he was in the loony bin with Flair.
That's right. God, maybe he's still there.
Right.
I hadn't thought of that.
So he has a challenge for David Flair since he's doing his title match tonight. He, Nash, will put the World Championship on the line, but if he wins, he gets Torrie Wilson for 72 hours.
And he says 72 hours, and Bobby Heenan goes, "That's all?" And Nash must have known that would be the obvious question because he explains many people in wrestling have tried to get women for 30, 60, or 90 days. But he says, 72 hours with Big Sexy, and she'll be ruined. I guarantee it.
Is that a good thing?
That's your goal?
I don't know. I didn't understand this.
I remember when I was, how old would I have been during
Where
the
is
show?
the story going?
I would have been, what, 23?
Okay.
Sure, somewhere in there.
I would have wanted to stuck with her for years.
Yes.
72 hours, you idiot. And he says, with that little incentive, I guarantee I'm leaving as champion.
Because otherwise, who knows?
Keep in mind, by the way, I mean, shit happens and all. I guess you could just change this show on the fly. But Monday Night Raw was advertising Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker
For the World
for the
Heavyweight Championship.
WWF Championship.
And you were competing with Kevin Nash versus David Flair.
They're spending an entire show billing David Flair in a match with Kevin Nash where they're stacking the deck so you think that David Flair's leaving with the title.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine?
Isn't this the Taker-Austin match that broke the ratings record?
Yes, it destroyed.
In hindsight, the way these two shows unfolded, this is a record that they should credit Nitro for. Nitro drove so many viewers to Raw.
Yeah.
This is where I wrote the show ground to a halt.
No! West Texas Rednecks were next.
Who are they in the ring with?
Well, I mean, the
Brian?
match sucked. But
Okay, then.
I will accept that after their entrance, the show ground to a halt.
Vincent
Their entrance was so awesome.
Vincent and Stevie Ray and Horace and Brian Adams versus Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham and Kendall Windham and Bobby Duncan. And yes, Kurt Hennig's half-assed line dancing as I Hate Rap is playing.
Dude.
This little two-step.
Well, I'm going to jump ahead to the video, okay? Later
It's
in the
your
show, they do the video for Rap is Crap. And it's all four of the Rednecks all playing in a fucking band. Kurt Hennig is singing.
Yeah.
He's a fucking atrocious singer, which makes it even better. They got all the other geeks. One of these geeks is playing drums. One of these geeks is playing the guitar.
It was Barry Windham, who I should now imitate his drum technique.
These guys, but this is the thing, they were having the time of their life.
That is true.
Like, you know WCW sucked. There was nothing about the company that was any fun, but they got to go out there and they got to be a band and shoot a music video for this fucking terrible song. Highlight of all of their careers.
They're out in this huge square or campus or something.
This was in public.
Yeah, there's fans there. There's a stage.
There are fans. There are plural fans, a dozen or so.
Sure.
Sure, but
This
yeah.
huge empty field.
They drew a crowd.
Technically,
Sure.
by the literal definition of the term, there was a group of people there.
But I just loved it because they were all having so much fun doing this stupid gimmick.
Well, on that note, Kurt Hennig especially, and I hate to say that this was like inspired by a tragedy, but since he has come back since the death of Rick Rude, he has given zero fucks and is just out there to amuse himself. So when this match begins and Brian Adams and Barry Windham are in the ring doing high spots for like a minute straight, if you listen close, you can hear Kurt shout, "You're blowing me up!" Watching these guys. Now, I expected this to be high in the running for the worst matches of 1999, which, as we've discussed, is a banner year for terrible pro wrestling matches. It was better than that. It was not even the worst match on the show.
What was worse than this? Just out of curiosity.
The Eddie and Lodi match was worse.
Oh, no.
And
I mean, the problem with this match was there was zero heat.
Correct.
There were hot tags.
Really? The B team and the West Texas Rednecks had a feud and no one cared? I can't believe that.
Well, I figured, okay, people love the song. they're into the Rednecks. There's got to be like a modicum of heat when someone's in trouble or somebody gets a hot tag. They're tagging I'm considering the Rednecks the babyfaces. They're tagging the babyfaces. Nobody cares. This fucking 8-man that it broke down to at the end of the match was a disaster.
It was not very good.
God, it was terrible.
My exact words were, "This is very weird and not very good, but watchable."
I mean, it was watchable.
Which made it that
I
far
didn't go blind.
exceeded- This was much better than like the NWO Battle Royal that had most of these same people. So
That's true.
Yeah.
The NWO Battle Royal was significantly worse than this.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Yes. So eventually, Kendall and Duncombe hit Vincent with a double bulldog and pinned him.
I was going to say, you know that a tag match isn't going well when the hot tag is delivered to Vincent.
Yeah.
God.
Imagine. Of all the wrestlers in the world, let alone this match, I would much rather watch Stevie Ray do a hot tag. Cat versus Disco Inferno in a dance contest.
Nick Patrick is the referee.
Yeah.
And he's calling it like a shoot.
By the way, can I just say, Nick Patrick has grown the most amazing mullet back.
I could hear Angel singing as his mullet flowed.
I actually think that he's had that mullet for a while, but normally he has it in a ponytail.
It's been
possible.
It's been cut, and now he's growing it back, and it's phenomenal.
Well, my feeling is he ties it back when he actually has to do a match.
So
but because this was a presentation, he was a host.
I see.
He had to let it down.
This is the top shelf conditioner he's using.
Yes.
It's not just the flow in the back; it's also the inflated top, making him look like the drummer for Boston.
It's terrible. 1999, he's got that hairdo.
Yeah.
Even I got rid of my mullet by like 94.
So Nick Patrick's in there. He's got more than a feeling. And the
Nice one, Vince.
thank you. So Cat goes first. As the winner of the contest will be determined by audience response. So Cat promptly insults the audience and threatens to kick their ass.
Yeah, same deal about getting his gi out of his car.
Yes. He puts on his red shoes. He does his James Brown dance, and that's that.
You know what's funny about his James Brown dance is I watch it and I honestly can't tell if he's any good or if he's not. Because like there are things about it that look like
Sure.
he's really good.
Sure.
And then there's stuff that looks like a total parody.
Like, I couldn't do what he does.
Yes.
But if I could, I would do it better.
Yes. I guess that's a good way to put it. Disco is in the corner dying of laughter
Yes.
watching this fucking guy do his dance. You know the best part of this was? Allow me, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So, Disco's howling at this guy's stupid dance. Then they're like, now it's time for the Disco Inferno. And he goes over in the ring and they start to hit his music and he starts shaking his hips and he starts doing his hand deal. And they cut to the Nitro girls and they're all going crazy for this dance.
They love Disco.
But of course, these fucking idiots cut to them right when Shad attacks him. So you don't actually see the attack.
Right.
They cut to the girls, they cut back, and Disco's down. Like, do you have a heart attack dancing? What happened here? We find out that Shad beat him up. So anyway, they have this brawl or whatever. But the best part of this is, you know, you watch these matches and there's a match going on, but like the announcers are talking about Hulk Hogan or Kevin Nash or something. These, I guess there was nothing else to talk about. Tony and Bobby are breaking this dance contest down.
Yes.
Tony is insistent. Okay, Shat has kicked Disco and left him for dead. Okay, that should be important in a dance contest. Tony must announce the winner. This guy is down. What's going on here? Where'd my voice?
I hear you.
I hear you.
Is my mic dying here in the middle of this show?
Oh, wait, that's bad. No, mine's out.
It's everything's powering down now.
Hit save, and we'll come back. What the hell is that? Is your house haunted?
Is it just my mic?
No, it's all of
It was
them,
all
dude.
of us. Now it's gone again.
No, you talk, Vinny.
I'm talking.
It's like it's surging.
It is
almost.
coming and going.
The hell is going on here?
It's a brownout.
That was bizarre. Where was I?
Is it still recording, dude?
Yeah,
Yeah, everything's going.
The graphic there doesn't seem to be. We're good?
It seems like it's good.
Oh, there
All
it
right.
goes. Okay.
Okay.
Is our headphones dying?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It looks fine over there. Are we haunted? Anyway, it killed my mojo.
So there's
Anyway,
a dance contest
Tony
going
is
on.
insistent to tell us who the winner is. He must let us know who has won this contest. And then him and Heenan, as Shat is kicking the shit out of Disco Inferno, they start debating what dancing is.
Exactly.
Tony says, well, you know, Disco only moves his hips.
He didn't really dance. He just moved his hips.
Shat was actually dancing. He was moving his feet.
Sure.
And Heenan goes, well, I dance. I only move my hips. They're actually breaking down the technique in this fucking dance contest.
Definition of dance.
They didn't give a shit about the angle. No. Probably because they didn't want to see the match. But man, oh man.
That was the weird part. They actually had a dance contest that led to a match.
Yeah, which was not clear to me for like a minute. I was like, how long is this brawl going? Oh, there's a ref in there. Oh, he's counting pins. This is a match now. So yes, Cat versus Disco Inferno in a wrestling match. Crowd was bored and chanting for Goldberg, who just vanished. It's been like 2 months now. There's no explanation. Sonny Ono tries to interfere. He hits Cat instead. It's not a DQ. I guess you can't get disqualified for kicking your own guy. And then Jerry Flynn arrives and kicks Cat for the disqualification. And Jerry Flynn challenges Cat to a kickboxing match in the Georgia Dome for next week.
He also cursed.
Well, yeah, as he is leaving, really the best part of this entire segment.
Yeah.
He looks right into the camera as he's walking up the aisle, and he says, "That's the way you take care of Ernest fucking Miller." And then he goes,
You see my capture on
probably. Hey, this is not quite as funny as Booker T accidentally calling Hulk Hogan an unacceptable name, but same concept.
Yes.
Same idea.
All I know is that Flynn, he didn't just challenge him. He goes, I want you to go get your pads.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a kickboxing match and find out who the real martial artist is. I'm like, dude, I've been doing martial arts like a lot of my life. I could not give a shit about this match. Who could possibly...
Jerry Flynn versus the Cat.
My point is, like, Bischoff is a karate guy or whatever. Yeah. And so, like, he's all excited about... Like, nobody fucking cares about it except Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
A fucking kickboxing match between Flynn and Shat next week? Who fucking cares? Why are we watching this?
I don't know. They replayed the whole opening bit with the Jordan statue. Gotta fill 3 hours. Buff Bagwell and Dean Malenko versus DDP and Canyon. I was like, I'm over Buff and Dean. It's a weird team on paper that is even weirder in real life.
It's Dean.
Well,
like this is so exposed. This guy.
They're like yin and yang of each other.
Dean is like.
I mean, they fit together well.
There are things
two
that
yings.
There are things that Dean did very well.
Never mind.
If he had a mid-card technical wrestling match with another great technical wrestler, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, but like his gimmick is he has no face.
Yes.
So you're putting him in there as a babyface in peril? It's impossible to get into him as a babyface.
Or a guy in the apron waiting for a hot tag.
Yeah.
Either way.
It was just like, and he's, he wants to be a main eventer in storyline, but here he is in, I mean, this is a pretty high level.
It's a world tag team title match he's in.
And he's just out there just going through the moves. I mean, I don't know.
He's a robot.
He's not a main eventer, I can tell you that much.
I like, by the way, that Buff's big wacky top hat, if you look close, it still has the NWO logo on it. He just painted it over.
Just like redoing a tattoo.
Sure.
It's only like, the company's only owned by a billionaire. They couldn't get him a new hat. So, that said, this match went way too long. 15 minutes or so. It did not need to go that long, but they did not lose the crowd over these 15 minutes. The crowd was into the finish. And, of course, the Jersey Triad did the gimmick where they were switching places in the apron, so it was really a 3-on-2 match. And eventually they hit a combo diamond cutter on Dean for the win. But you know what? I'm going to chalk this up as a thumbs up.
It's funny, too, because Bobby and Tony were arguing about how you can't have 3 men in a match. This has never been done before. The Freebirds? Except the Freebirds had 2 guys in the ring.
Yes.
These 3 of them tag back out. It's ridiculous.
That's why I said they'd never done this before.
They said they've never had a 3-man tag team.
Is this really worth arguing?
No, it really isn't.
But my point is, like, the Freebirds, it wasn't a tag match, but they could all 3 tag in. They would just choose 2 guys for the tag match.
Exactly.
Yeah, so these guys, like, they could all tag in, right?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because they're buddies with Flair.
So they're all handicap tag matches.
Yes.
Yes.
In
so
storyline, because they did Flair a favor and continue to do Flair favors.
Nope, not one hand was raised in the meeting when this was.
None of the other teams protest.
Well, maybe they did, but Flair was like, too bad.
Yeah,
I'm in charge.
Listen,
my kid's getting the belt.
Craig, on this particular program, there are bigger fish to fry. For example,
that's fair.
I Hate Rap.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to the next match. The I Hate Rap music video debuted. We already talked about it, so I just scrolled right through.
Just Google it on YouTube, everybody. It's so amazing.
Bobby Duncombe could not even lip sync.
No, that's why it was so great.
So then, speaking of horrible things, Scott Putski versus Sid Vicious.
If you say one negative thing about this match, I'm coming over that table. Dude, Sid is so amazing. He comes down the aisle, rambling incoherently. He lumbers down. He's the most awesome subhuman. There's nobody like him. And then he looks into the camera and he goes, this is off camera, so there's no mic. He just goes, bad night for Mr. Putski. I wouldn't want to be him. Sure shit right. Gets in the ring, and they just have the shittiest fucking match. It's so fucking terrible.
Listen.
But it's awesomely terrible.
Putski comes out, and then Sid comes out, and for some reason, Sid has no music. Even they couldn't just play Savage's song or whatever.
Yeah.
So Sid comes out with his whole crew, but with no music. 2 minutes go by.
Yeah.
I actually to walk down the aisle, nothing happens for 2 minutes. The bell rings. 2 more minutes go by. There's no contact. No one touched anybody for 4 minutes here of TV time. So I'm screaming at this. It's TV death.
Oh, come on.
The crowd is chanting for Goldberg loudly.
I loved Sid so much on the show, I considered nominating him for the Hall of Awesome.
We would have had our first actual debate.
He's fucking great. You know what he is? He comes off as a crazy, dangerous, scary guy.
You're not wrong about any of that.
And I mean, how many guys nowadays, if you watch, I won't say like worldwide because there's plenty of them, but like in WWE, who comes across as a legit, crazy, scary guy?
Brock
Tommaso
Lesnar.
Ciampa.
Lesnar?
Yeah.
Maybe Ciampa, yeah. But like Lesnar, I'm on the main roster. You got Lesnar, Joe.
Okay.
Maybe Lashley if they had him be the guy he was in TNA killing guys. But like Braun Strowman's a giant cartoon character.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just some weird guy playing a role. Sid, he had the look. I mean, he fucking sucked in the ring. But his promos are just hilarious. He comes across as a crazy guy with his promos. He looks like a crazy guy. He looks like a mutant of some sort. Like, when they're building up him and Nash, I'm actually interested. Why? I have no fucking idea. But you look at the guy, and it's like, oh man, him and Nash, that's money.
Hey, one of the most important things about being a pro wrestler is how you look.
Yeah.
And Sid's look is a 10 out of 10.
It is a 11.
Yeah.
Maybe a 12 on the granny scale.
Now, everything else is a 0 or a 1.
He's terrible in the ring.
His promo,
Hideous.
His promos, they have a charm. Maybe they're a 3 or a 4, I guess.
Yes.
But
I would go as far as say a 6 on the promos.
regardless.
I laugh every time.
So Sid wins with a fucking horrible match with a choke slam and a powerbomb, and then they drop the big elbow on Putski, and that's that. We had an entire segment. They go to commercial. They come back. The Nitro girls are bebopping around. Nash is walking around. David Flair's warming up. They go to commercial again. 3 hours.
You know what made me the most angry about this main event?
That's yes, because there's a strong list of contenders.
No Michael Buffer.
That's actually true.
God damn it. I was dying to hear him introduce David Flair.
This man has no credentials. No talent.
No charisma.
Oh.
Jinx. Yeah. So we got David Flair versus Kevin Nash.
Jinx.
He did. You owe me a Coke.
Everyone's disgusted, Vinny, but go ahead.
What else is new? David Flair versus Kevin Nash with Arn Anderson as ref and the Jersey Triad and Team Madness and Roddy Piper and Ric Flair as lumberjacks for the World Heavyweight title.
Now, I don't want to get into like continuity, but did Ric Flair not do an interview twice on this show where he said that Little Nate was going to be the referee?
He did.
There was a point, I forget which match it was, but Arn was doing commentary and Flair explained Charles Robinson is nervous. Arn Anderson is going to be reffing instead.
I see.
It's probably because he couldn't actually ref.
That was the Bagwell-Malenko match.
Yeah. And Arn actually did a little promo about the parody, the NWO parody, or the Four Horsemen parody the NWO had done, and tonight would be his revenge. So, everyone swarms Nash. Savage even hits him with a chain. David puts him in the figure 4. Arn counts 1. Arn counts 2. Nash gets his shoulder up, and Arn stops counting.
I'll bet you can imagine how sickened I was at this moment.
The most evil man, the most evil group, all the ways they're cheating in this match. A dozen guys with a chain were just beating up Nash in the corner. But when he gets his shoulder up, you can't count that 3.
That's not even the only thing, Vinny.
No, this is where it got stupid.
When this match started, all the Lumberjacks attack Kevin Nash, and Tony admits it was all a gigantic setup.
Mm-hmm.
All these fucking idiots have to do is pound on him until David can get the pin and the title. Am I wrong?
You're right.
So they pound on him. David puts him in the figure 4, and everybody leaves the ring.
Yeah.
Arn counts it 2. The guy gets his fucking shoulder up. Arn, the worst fucking heel referee ever, just stops counting. Mm-hmm. And then Nash just starts beating the shit out of the guy. And all those fucking Lumberjacks just stand outside and they watch it.
Uh-huh. Now it's a one-on-one match.
Fuck you. The only redeeming thing about this match, which I still laugh thinking about it. So, finally, Arn attacks Kevin Nash, and all the geeks hit the ring again.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another gang beating. So in the middle of this, David Flair grabs the taser. He's got the taser in his hand. He's going to go and he's going to tase Kevin Nash right in the balls or whatever. And literally, he walks across the ring with the taser.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Nash walks up to him, and he takes the taser, and he stabs David. I fucking died.
That's exactly
it
what
wasn't
happened.
like he went for it, and Nash moved and grabbed it.
No.
It's not like he swung it for some reason, Nash blocked it.
No.
He walks at Nash, and Nash just goes, bloop, and grabs the fucking taser and stabs the guy.
It looked like one runner passing the baton to another in a relay race.
Dude! Can David do anything?
No. So Nash starts teasing dudes left and right. And then he decides,
I'm out of here.
my work here is done.
Done. Give me the women.
He grabs his belt. And then he decides, you know what would be fun? Kidnapping.
Sure.
I shall kidnap someone.
Yeah. This gorgeous George is
He
hot.
grabs gorgeous George, throws her over his shoulder, gets a great big handful of ass. Tori Wilson, apparently honoring the stips.
Sure.
Agreed to.
He lost.
Did he?
It would be a count out. How would he have won?
Flair was out. I don't know.
There was no finish.
There was no finish.
point-
Regardless, Tori, in that case, Tori just dumped David.
Well,
And-
watching this
like it.
goddamn match right here, I mean, what do you expect her to do?
So Nash has George over his shoulder. She is screaming for help. Tori is with him. She's skipping and smiling, having the time of her life.
I mean, this is lewd, but like, one guy grabbed the rod, and the other guy had no idea what to do with it.
That's
so,
fair.
I mean, like,
You make a point.
that's all I can come up with.
Yeah. So now we're backstage. Nash is still carrying George, and he goes to throw into a limo, and then he looks yonder, and there's a black Hummer.
Black, you say.
A black Hummer. Black this week. And then suddenly, I guess, we get Nash-O-Vision as we are looking through his eyes, and he sees 50, 60 yards down the way, Sting's face is reflecting in the driver's side mirror.
That's right.
And Nash's response is to jump in the limo and drive away as Savage zooms in, trying to rescue his damsel in distress, who was kidnapped and abducted against her will. And that's the end of the show.
God, watching Savage try to run, watching Nash. Nash has got, she's maybe 110 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Probably less than that. Struggling to carry her through this building on his bad knees. Get in this damn limo or whatever. This was fucking terrible. This main event was a disaster.
The only thing I can say is that this was all, this did cross the line of being so bad I could laugh at it.
Oh, I laughed.
So
There was so much hilarity in that main event. David putting him in the figure 4, Nash just stands up. Didn't
what
sell
happens.
it at all.
No, Nash shrugged off the beatings of a dozen men.
Yeah.
He started beating up David. Yeah, everything about this was terrible.
And it was better than Raw, I thought.
It blew Raw out of the water. We'll get to Raw, well, very soon. But first, Brian, do you have my music ready?
Oh, your music. Don't mind if I do. We'll see. Yeah, let's hope.
That's if it works.
Fingers crossed.
Let's hope everything's working here. All right, here we go.
We have Tony doing live guitar this time. The finishes on this show were clean pin in a tag match, more or less clean pin in what may as well have been a handicap match, pin after weapons and interference, possible DQ in a dance contest, I'm really not sure, DQ due to outside interference, pin after assorted shenanigans in a 3-on-2 tag match, clean pin, and then no finish in the main event.
So let me get this straight. You wrote down the main event finish, but then when we were talking about it, you didn't know what the finish was.
I had forgotten what I'd written down.
Okay, just checking.
That's what happened.
Let's talk about this Raw.
Do you have any other questions before we move on?
No, I think that about covers it, Vinny.